it's invaluable to, at the end of the process, see what you have made and be proud of it.
We help people with ideas get them to revenue.
Welcome back to the 52Launch podcast. This is season 2, episode number 8. I am Alex. I am the creative content director here at 52. I handle all the photo and video, both internally for us and then obviously externally for the clients. And today I'm going to run you through the entire process of doing a product shoot. So in this episode, we're going to be doing photo and video, and the 3 sections are really going to be pre-production, the actual shoot day, and then post-production. So without further ado, let's start with pre-production. So the first thing that you're going to want to consider is money, is budget in terms of the actual shoot. How much money do you have to work with? It depends on your production. Sometimes you're going to have thousands of dollars. Sometimes you're going to have a couple $100. Sometimes you might not have any money. You can think of, huge films. They have millions of dollars, and there's someone there to kind of allocate where all that money is going to go. So that's your first step, is realizing your resources. How much money do you have, and what are you going to use that on? So if you don't have a ton of money, the biggest thing is really realizing, okay, what is the best use of this small amount of money that I have? And most of the time, that's going to be purchasing products or props, just anything that's going to make your shoot look good. Sometimes that might mean that you're going to rent a space. You're going to rent, someone's house, or you're going to rent a venue, anywhere where it makes sense to have the product. Obviously, doing that costs money. Maybe if you don't have money, sometimes you might need to go and shoot it at your house or shoot it in a public area, which is very doable. But if you do have money, that is something that you're going to want to consider in terms of location. If you have the money that you can allocate towards a location, it is, every time it's going to be worth it, because it's just going to look way better on screen. The consumer is just going to have a better idea of how it should actually look if you have a killer location. You have a great setup. So that would be the first thing, is just allocating where that money is going to go. If you can get a location, awesome. If you can't, that's fine. And I'm also going to add that every single project is unique in its own way. And it's not like, okay, here's the checklist. Like, you're going to go and you have this money, you're going to get your location, and then you're going to go here and you're going to go there. It's random. It depends on the product. Sometimes it makes sense. Sometimes it doesn't really make sense. But in terms of other avenues where you can use that money that you have, you want to think of who's going to be on camera. So, it's great if you can hire models. There's modeling agencies all around the world. You can get them for relatively cheap, and they have different packages you might be able to get for a couple hours, or a lot of agencies have a half day and a full day rate. And this comes back to the overall image of your product and what the consumer is going to see. If you have, an ideal customer in mind, it would make a lot more sense to have someone that has that same look, feel of, in terms of a model that has that same feel of your ideal customer, so that when your customer is seeing this content, they can see the model, they can see who's actually using the product, and they can envision theirself in that scenario. Another thing, so at this point we have location and we have modeling. If you are on a tight budget, and depending on your deliverables, it could make sense to hire additional people to actually help you with the, be a part of the crew of this shoot. A lot of times here at 52, I'm hiring, whether it's an additional photographer or an additional videographer, just to help on set. We will get to the actual shooting. That's going to happen a little later in this episode. But as anyone that's ever done any, like good quality shoot knows that there's just so many variables, so many things can unfortunately just take a turn, and you need to be just quick on your feet and ready to adjust and pivot at any point. So having another person on the actual set is huge. And if you have a limited budget, I would almost say to kind of start with that, start with hiring additional people to be on set. And, you know, if you can't hire someone, even just an extra set of eyes, whether it's a friend and, you know, you say, hey, come, you know, there's a 4-hour shoot. I just need you for this hour. And like, you know, we can get lunch afterwards or something like that. Like and again, if you have no money, like you gotta figure out these little nuances and like how you're going to actually get someone else on set with you. Cause it is invaluable to have just another opinion, and just, again, so many things can be all over the place. So just having someone else there to help you keep things tame. But yeah, so that is budget and where you should probably think about allocating your dollars, if you have any. And next is going to be, so this is still pre-production, just kind of like mood boards and think about logistics of where this product would be. You know, a snow shovel, whatever, like if you have a specific product and it's a snow shovel, you can imagine that the location and the conditions might be a little different than a sunscreen brand. So think about your product. Think about, this comes back to modeling. Where does it make sense for this product to be? You know, this is going to be on your website. This is going to be on your socials. You want the ideal customer to be able to put themselves in that scenario. So snow shovel, you're going to wait for a snowy day, and there's again more nuances to that. So have yourself a few days, or maybe a week, where you can kind of think about, okay, I'm going to wait till there's snow on the ground, or I'm going to wait till it's actually snowing, or maybe I'm going to wait till the day after because I don't want to deal with the snow. But that comes back to location and timing. You really have to include weather. That's another thing that can always go wrong. Have a backup shoot day in case it's raining and you don't want it to rain, or, there's not a cloud in the sky, which can, some people, if you're not in photo video, you might think, oh, great, it's the middle of the day and the sun's out. Like, this is perfect, which isn't always the case. Sometimes you want it to be a little more overcast, just in terms of the shadows. If it's direct sunlight, you can just get some harsh shadows on faces. So, weather considerations, your location considerations. Like I just said, with the direct sun, you want to think about what time of day you're going to shoot at, because a lot of the times, if you shot at noon, I'm sure you can see behind me, it's around noon and it is direct sunlight out right now. And that's just not the greatest shooting conditions. Different photographers and videographers are going to have differing opinions on when the best time to shoot is, but, it's kind of not in question that golden hour is a great time. So that would be 1 hour after sunrise and 1 hour before sunset. You just kind of have some warmer tones. It looks nice. The shadows aren't too harsh. But again, it depends on what you're shooting. So, and then a quick plug for that as well is going to be Photo Pill. I think, let me just double check the name on that, but you're going to go on your phone. I know no one likes to pay for apps, but this is an app that I use all the time. Yes, it's called Photo Pills. So you basically go on there and you're going to see, you can pull up VR on your phone, and I'm basically going to look, say I'm shooting towards a building. It's going to show me the trajectory of the sun throughout the day. And so I'll know exactly, like, okay, I want there to be a shadow here. I want this part of the building to be, again, casting a shadow this way. You go on this app, Photo Pills, and you can just move around where the sun is. It tells you exactly what time it's going to be there. Super helpful app. So, that's another, just a quick tool for you that will help you kind of master the lighting of your situation. And that's if you're outside. If you're not outside, you want to figure out your lights indoors, whether that is constant lights, so constant light for video, or again, natural light. If you're by a window, you want to consider that. Maybe you have some reflectors that are going to just kind of brighten up your space. But this is still pre-production. You got to think about all the, you got to think about what the lighting scenario is going to be. And you're going to get some mood boards, go on, Pinterest. I like Cosmos. You can go on there and just kind of pull some inspiring photos, assets. Maybe there's a company in the space that you really like, and you just kind of take a peek at what they do. Or maybe this brand has nothing to do with your brand, but you really just like kind of the feel and the aesthetic of their brand. I feel like that's kind of a what's the word? A buzzword. That's what I was looking for. I feel like that's kind of a buzzword. Everyone says aesthetics, but it's important to consider. So do your research, go on Instagram, go on Cosmos, go on Pinterest, look around, see what people are doing, and draw inspo. Obviously, you're not going to copy anyone, but it is good to have some inspiration that you're going to work off of. Each one of these, pre-production, shoot day, and post, I could go on and on. There are just so many things that you need to consider. But to keep this rather quick, the last thing for pre-production that you're going to do is just run some tests. Test out where the camera is going to be, the camera angle, how does the product look on camera. If I'm modeling it, for example, which sometimes you have to do, again, if you don't have the money, sometimes I'm locking off two cameras and, it's like waist up, shoulders down, and I'm kind of just, like hand modeling the product. What color is my shirt going to be? Pants, like just little considerations like that. And that's, again, pre-production, just running tests, figuring out what makes the most sense to do. And another like underrated tip for testing is to actually use your phone. Obviously for the actual shoot itself, you're going to be using a more professional camera. But the iPhone cameras are pretty good in terms of if I just want to get some reference shots, you can, the iPhone has the 0.5. So you have the wide angle equivalent, 1X. I don't know the exact conversion, but let's say like a 1X is around, if I had to guess, it's probably like a 24 or 28. And then there's a 3X, which I want to say is closer to 77 mil. But you can take some test shots on your phone, and there's not as much barrier to entry. It's a lot easier to set up. And again, they're just kind of references, and you can get a decent idea of what your footage and your photos are going to look like with your phone. And then, scheduling, of course. So you want to, like I kind of alluded to earlier, maybe have a couple dates in mind, just because things can inevitably go wrong. People get sick, weather doesn't work out, product doesn't show up. There's a million things. So just schedule it, allot yourself some time. That's another big one. And that's going to be my transition into shoot day, is allot yourself time. Because anyone that's done photo video knows if you're on set, it always takes longer than you expect. You allocate 4 hours, it's going to take 6. You allocate 6, it's going to take 8. Like, it's just the setup on the actual shoot day takes a while, lunch break, maybe a shot's taken longer than you expect. So allocate extra time on your shoot day, because the last thing that you want to do is be rushing through a shoot because you don't have enough time allocated. So yeah, that is first tip for shoot day. And then another one, I don't hear a lot of people talk about this in terms of shoot day, but I know for myself, just since it is it can be a stressful day, try to do something for yourself before the shoot. I think, centering yourself in whatever way, whatever that means for you, is super important on a shoot day. I like to, if I can work out before the shoot, incredible. Just, get the blood flowing. Again, that's maybe that's specific to me, but just even if you go out in the morning and you take a 10-minute walk, like, just move your body, do something for yourself. Just center yourself for the day, because it is inevitably, there's a lot going on, so it's going to be stressful. which is good. It's, it's stressful. It's exciting. You got a lot of responsibility. So again, start the day, do something for yourself. For me personally, that looks like going to the gym, or maybe if I don't have time for the gym, just go to the sauna, and just center yourself, get yourself ready for the day, whatever that means for you. So yeah, you wake up, you do that, and then we are going to the shoot, wherever that is. Allocate time for yourself. If the GPS says it's going to take 30 minutes, assume it's going to take 45. Like, just, again, with so many moving parts, I feel like one of the last things that you want is to be worried about time. Because if you're stressing about time, you're just adding unnecessary layers to this puzzle. You know what I mean? So just allocate extra time. Again, show up early. Assume things are going to take longer than they're going to do. Assume there's going to be traffic. That's just going to make everything easier on that actual shoot day. And then next is equipment. So pack your car up, pack whatever, if you got a production van, whatever it is, pack it up, make sure you have everything, double check, triple check. Last thing you want to do is show up and you don't have product, or you forgot a camera, you don't have enough batteries, something like that. On the note of batteries, this probably could have been pre-production, but day of too, just make sure everything is charged. Your lights are charged, your camera batteries are charged, everything needs to be charged. Have backups. I know I go on a shoot, I probably have 6 batteries and maybe I'll use 2 or 3, but again, it's all technical, things happen. So you've probably been able to pick up on, this pre-production and especially the shoot day. I'm trying to remove as much friction as possible, just because there are so many variables that go into this actual shoot day. So anywhere where you can remove friction for yourself and just make it a little easier, have the peace of mind of having a backup, the peace of mind of having extra time, anything that you can do in that realm, you want to do. Because it's just going to make your life easier, and you're just going to make that shoot day go smooth sailing, and you're just going to control what you can control. So yeah, you have your equipment, you got your batteries all charged up, safety time on travel, whatever's going to make, if you're shooting in a studio and you're not doing audio, or there's not going to be audio in the final cut, throw on some music. I like to throw on some house music, keeps things nice and upbeat just on set. It's nice. It keeps everyone loose, and who doesn't like to listen to music. So again, that's just gonna ease things up if you can listen to music, and that's gonna make things easier for you. By all means, go ahead. But again, if you're using audio, keep that in mind. Quiet on the set. You're not gonna want to run some audio in post and then see that or hear that. Hear that some songs playing in the background. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, and then back to just shoot day equipment. Make sure you know all the specifics of your camera. You need to know the native ISO on whatever picture profile you're shooting. Here at 52, and for me personally, we shoot Sony, and for example, the A7S III is dual native ISO, so 640 and 12,800. So know those numbers. That's going to be your best. That's going to be where your footage looks the best in terms of noise and grain. And we also shoot on the A7 IV, which has a 800 ISO and 3200 ISO dual native. So, because you want to get the best out of your camera, and you want to know what picture profile. For us, that's PP8, which is S-Log3, and you're just gonna want to make sure that all that is dialed in. And in terms of, back to just kind of like camera basics, like if you're shooting 60 frames per second, you want to be 1/125 for your shutter speed. If you are shooting 30 frames per second, you want to be 1/60 for the shutter speed. And and then you're obviously from there, you're going to adjust your aperture. So just make sure everything's the same. You know, you're shooting, ideally you can shoot 4K. You want to shoot 4K on both cameras. You just want to make sure that everything is locked in settings wise beforehand. And that comes back to pre-production again. Just if you have that set up beforehand, then on the actual shoot day, there's just less friction. It's less things you have to worry about. Make sure that is good. And so we got everything. We're shooting. Shooting's going great. And again, I think this is where doing something for yourself comes in handy. Just be present in the moment on the shoot. Do everything you can to enjoy it. Do everything you can to make it the best you can. You know, us creatives, we're very passionate about our work. So it can get intense sometimes, but don't forget to have fun. Because, you know, that's why, I mean, any field, but especially photo, video, that's why you picked up a camera in the first place, is because it was cool and you wanted to have fun. So don't lose sight of that. We're all planned for the shoot. You have the shoot day, goes great. Immediately after the shoot, you want to back up all your footage. So you have your laptop with you and you're plugging in SD cards to your laptop. I do a folder on my desktop. I put all the raw footage, all the raw video, all the raw video and footage, that's the same thing, and then all the raw photos. Put that all in a folder on my desktop. And once that's there, I plug in a hard drive. This is still on the shoot day. This is still on location wherever I am. You know, maybe I'm still chatting with the models or the client, whoever happens to be there, or maybe I'm just sitting in my car waiting to go home. But this is so important because, again, technical difficulties happen, cards malfunction, stuff can get wiped. So we've all heard some horror stories where, you know, you film something and the card gets wiped, and it's like, well, there goes my entire day on. And now I have to do the whole thing again. And yeah, no one wants that. So that's your last step on the shoot day, is to offload everything onto your desktop, plug in a hard drive, offload onto your hard drive. And frankly, I can't take a deep exhale until that happens. You know, because there's always that thought in the back of your head, like, what if something happens to the card? So double offload on site. We're not taking any chances over here. And then when you come back, so I'll come back to the office, and you thought we were done with 2 offloads, but not quite. We got one more to do. So you throw it onto the server, and again, as many within reason, as many backups as you can do is great. Just because you cannot lose that footage. You can't lose all that hard work you did. Yeah, that brings us to the end of the shoot day, and process is only just begun, because now we have post-production. Everything's offloaded onto our server or wherever you're editing from. Maybe you're editing off a hard drive, maybe you're editing off your desktop, but you are going to bring everything into your editing software. For us, that's Premiere Pro. I'm going to put in all the footage. They are big files. It's 4K. It could be a few minutes per clip. Maybe it's a few seconds per clip. But anyways, S-Log3, you know, shooting on a A7 or A7S3 in our case, 4K. It's big files. So you're going to bring them into Premiere, and then you're going to proxy everything, which just makes lower resolution previews pretty much. And with those, you can just kind of fly around in editing, and they don't take as long to load. You can jump way far in the sequence, and it's not going to mess anything up. You're not going to have any lag with Premiere. So you're going to do that. I like to make a sequence of just all the raw footage, make a new sequence, copy all the raw footage, put it into a selects sequence, and you're just going to go in and, you know, cut the fat off of clips. You know, you have the start of the clip, and maybe it's, you know, a few seconds till the actual action happens. Just, you know, clip that, just get rid of the fat on there. So yeah, you're going to have your raw sequence, you're going to have a select sequence. And this is going to kind of give you an idea of, you know, what you actually are working with. And I like the select sequence because, say, you know, I'm doing a cut up and I need a little bit more of that clip, or maybe, okay, I think I had a different angle of that. Instead of having to go back into your bin of raw footage, you're just going to come back and go to your selects folder, or your select sequence, sorry, and it's already going to be cut there for you. So that's why I like the raw. And then again, if it's a longer cut, or maybe you don't have it in your select sequence, it's going to be in your raw sequence. And this just keeps everything, nice and tidy. That's why I like to do it, and just easy for reference. So raw sequence, select sequence, and then whatever your cut up's going to be. Obviously that sequence, and maybe you have a few cut ups. Maybe it's for us, a lot of times it's a website video. So I will have the website sequence going, and I will start the editing process in there. And, I would argue too that post-production starts with pre-production. I'm talking about mood boards at the start of this. Think about what music is going to work. It's very helpful if you have a music select, or like a genre, or kind of the direction of what you're going to be doing in terms of music beforehand. And then, now we're at post-production, we drop in that song, and you're just going to kind of build it out as you feel, as you envisioned. And that's the fun part. There's no correct way to do it. There's so many variables with making videos. You got audio, music, sound effects, clip selection, color grade, the list goes on and on. How long is each clip? What's the pacing? Is there a voiceover? Is there on-screen text? All these things that, you can pick and pluck and kind of combine in the magic, which is post-production. So, that's just a few things, believe it or not, to consider with post-production. Like I said, the list goes on, and anyone that's ever cut up a video knows that. I think my biggest tip for post-production is to take time away from the cut. And what I mean by that is, if you are just looking at this cut and you're editing it for hours on hours, you become blind to certain aspects of this video because you're married to it. You are so engulfed in it that there's little things that you won't even see. There's a bunch of different ways you can step away. That might be, I'll put in a few hours on an edit and go hop into another project. Go take a 5-minute walk, get outside again, back to the just moving around. And even, you hear things about if the screen's right here and you are just locked in on the screen, it's like not good for your eyes. And so not even from a psychological standpoint of being on the same project, but literally from a physical standpoint, it is just so helpful to, again, go outside. I hear, get your peripherals set on a different, like just adjusting your horizon. Like it's as simple as that. And that's gonna help you when you come back. And now you have a new perspective on it. You're seeing it differently. You're not as engulfed in it. Or maybe you put it down and you come back to it the next day and then you see something that you had never seen without that. Or, you ask someone else. It makes sense to have someone that's a photographer or videographer kind of take a look at it. They kind of have that artistic eye too. And maybe there's something that you missed that they point out. Or maybe you go to someone who has, not a ton of knowledge in the photo video space, which arguably is more helpful because, most people that are seeing this aren't going to be experts in photo and video. So getting their perspective, hearing exactly what they have to say, is invaluable. So just get as many perspectives as you can, step away, give yourself a new perspective by stepping away, export reviews, run them over, watch them at different times of the day, just kind of removing yourself from being so engulfed in the process is what really helps you make an amazing cut. And then, you did all this, you have your pre-production, we figured everything out, we had our shoot day. Everything went well. Post-production, everything went smooth. We have an amazing video. We have outstanding photos. Yeah, at the end of the day, you and your crew are happy about it. And again, it comes back to why everyone in the photo and video world started in the first place, is because it's fun. And it's invaluable to, at the end of the process, see what you have made and be proud of it. That is it for me today. Again, I'm Alex. Thank you for joining me on this podcast, season 2, episode 8. I hope you learned a little something about the photo and video world. So thank you. We will see you in the next one.